What's up, Epic 7? TristenWulf here, bringing you the news from the big conference drop from last night. Now, I know I went over the entire video, translated it for you, but we didn't really get into the details and nitty-gritty of what's coming. So this video is going to focus on the changes that are heading our way, what they mean, and my opinions on them. So let's get right into it. First of all, we had the GOAT, Mr. Navi, introduce us to director Tagoar Jin. You might know him better as the brain behind Merwin. And also, Hyo Dong-gyun. I hope I didn't slaughter those names too much. They brought us information on the changes that we're expecting over the next several months and the direction Smilegate's taking. So, first thing that they wanted to discuss was a change to the update cycle. We've always gone with a 2-week update cycle, and they're changing us to a 3-week cycle. You see, they acknowledged that some of their updates were too small, and sometimes their updates were too big. So a 3-week cycle is going to allow the updates to feel more impactful. Something for you to look forward to rather than just, oh, it's a little filler, tiny update. Where's our content? To a too much, too fast. I can't keep up with all this update. This is going to help with consistency and meeting expectations so that people will be more likely to look forward to updates. Now, what's this mean? This means that maintenance is going to be every 3 weeks instead of every 2. They also plan that every 9 weeks, there's going to be a version update, and the version updates are where significant changes happen. That's where they add new episodes, new stories, significant quality of life, game mechanics, all that kind of good stuff. So this calendar shows the new maintenance schedule. The red M's show you where maintenances should occur based on the current rotation, and the M with the V's in blue, those are going to be the big version updates where, you know, probably get a loading screen graphic change and some major impactful changes to the game. I know this feels like that means we're going to be getting less content, less updates, less contents, but that's not the case. This doesn't center around a change to the volume of content. This centers around making it be more consistent, giving us medium-sized updates instead of sometimes they're teeny and sometimes they're massive. It's to make the updates always feel impactful and something to look forward to. But before we get too far into the news, I want to thank the sponsor of today's news, the Huawei AppGallery. That's right, guys. Huawei AppGallery is the way to save money. These guys have saved me. Don't look at the receipts. Never look at the receipts. Trust me, they saved me a ton. And they can save you a ton too. If you're planning on making a purchase in Epic 7, they can save you upwards of 20 to 30% on your purchases through coupons and cashback. So I'll put a link in the description of this video to an older video that will explain to you how to set up the Huawei AppGallery on your device. Take you through the entire installation process, setting it up all the way through making your first purchase. Now, one thing I gotta point out, that video is a little old, and it's going to talk about Turkey being, having really good exchange rates and saving you even more money. That loophole's been patched to compensate. Huawei has upped the value of their coupons to give you even better discounts, so you can still save 20 to 30% on your purchases using the AppGallery. So make sure you get in there and get saving. If you are making purchases without the AppGallery, you're leaving money on the table, I'm telling you. So if you have questions, if you have struggles, if you're confused about the process or stuck at a problem, join my Discord and check out the support room for AppGallery. There are employees of the AppGallery in that room there to answer your questions, troubleshoot your account, and get you taken care of. And I'll be there as well to help you out, making sure you've got the best regions picked and are getting the best deals possible. So what are you waiting for? Start saving money and join Huawei AppGallery ASAP. Link in the description of the video, Discord as well. And now let's get back to the news. Now, this change is going to impact more than just game maintenance times. It's going to impact cyclical content within the game. See, sometimes content that lasted 4 weeks is only going to last 3, and sometimes content that only lasted 2 weeks is going to jump up to 3. And in order to address the grind and the monotony of our dailies, they're also going to start swapping content in and out. For example, in this 3-week cycle, you're going to be able to do Holo Trials, Automaton Tower, and Advent. Remember Advent? It's back, guys. And then the following 3-week cycle, we're going to still have Holo Trials, but now Advent and Automaton Tower are off rotation, and in comes Expeditions and Trial of the Constellations for this rotation. This change aims to make battle content feel less burdensome. It's reducing the amount of daily content that you got to grind through, while also making content feel, have that new content smell, right? Feel fresh, because we're giving some content breaks putting it off screen for a few weeks, and then bringing it back around again. This also makes it easier for them to slip in and add brand new content without people going, great, another thing to add to my daily rotation of things to do. So I think it's potentially a really good change. Now, you may be thinking, oh, wait, expeditions are gone for 3 weeks. I can't do trial constellations. Where's my rewards? Look, they ensure us that they're doing this in a way where rewards are not going to be impacted. They are adding a content battle pass so that you can earn currency that you can take to the battle pass shop, and you'll just simply be able to buy the items that you used to have to grind for every single day with currency you get by just doing your normal dailies. This method ensures that there'll be no reduction in the obtainable rewards with this change. So at the end of the day, your account's going to look the same, but your wear and tear on your mental is going to be better. Now, Smilegate acknowledges this is a huge play pattern change, and they're a little bit nervous about it, so they promise to monitor feedback from players and metrics from in-game participation. Let them know how you feel about it. They're definitely watching this with a weather eye to make sure it is a system that's good for everybody. This is all starting on December 18th. This 3-week cycle system goes into effect. Also starting on December 18th, they are refocusing on the narrative of episodes. Banners are going to focus around what's currently going on in this episode. This is going to help address the sloppy and all over the place feel of Epic 7 when it comes to unit releases and current narrative, right? This is the goal is to help increase game immersion. If a unit is on banner, they're being talked about in the story, as opposed to, hey, we got a unit on banner, it's a dragon fighting robots. Meanwhile, the story's talking about vampires and dark elves. It was kind of immersion crushing and took you out of the flow and made it a little bit hard, especially for newer players, to get the flow of the story when it was set to you in just random sloppy bites. So they're refocusing on the narrative of the story, and in doing this, it means they're going to have to dial down things like Moonlight Theater. Now, before you freak out and be like, "What about my Mystic Metals?" Don't worry, guys. Smilegate is committed to making every change we're going to talk about today in a way that does not cost the players resources. So those Mystic Metals, they'll be moved into other content, probably the story episodes. And speaking of stories, side stories, those are going to be adjusted as well to give more hero growth materials to address the needs of newer players trying to build up heroes they get from side stories. Again, the plan is to achieve these goals while keeping the total resources earned the same or even increasing them. The long-awaited 7th episode is finally here. They finally revealed it. I really enjoy the fact that we're fleshing out the history. See, in episode 7, we'll be journeying back to the 5th world, exploring the story of MLDN and her Wulf, new main character Aki, who is an heir that you probably recognize from the artifact Strat Gauntlet, as well as Hecate from the Sigurd Scythe artifact. Oh, and don't forget ML Asaria. We're getting Light Asaria, guys. She took up ownership of Elbrus Ritual Sword at a terrible price. Like I said, I'm a little disappointed that we don't get to see the future of the game, but getting more of the formative lore of the 5th world is exciting as well. And man, the animations look dark and edgy. I'm definitely feeling some CZN vibes in this, right, guys? I like it. All right. Focusing on the story and the narrative is a bit of a problem. This game is long, and the banners are going to reflect the current stories in order to preserve the immersion. So we're moving away from chapter-driven story content into what Epic 7 is terming as side episodes. This way they can flesh out their diverse world without losing new players in a mix of too much information. The 7th episode, which is going to tell the tale of the 5th world, is going to be one such side story. Much in the same way, the episode 6, which told the tale of the 6th world, was a side episode. Also, there's a strong push to make the new episode fully voiced like Epic 6, so look forward to that as well. So, pursuant to this change to preserve the flow, the episode screen is getting a complete overhaul. This layout will make it easier to see where new content is and what content you haven't completed yet, and this will allow players to enjoy the narrative story at every level of play. Let me explain. As soon as you clear episode 1 and cover the basic world building of Epic 7, you will now have access to all of Epic 7, all the episodes as side episodes. This allows you to stay up to date with the current lore and narrative while exploring past episodes at your leisure. So if a new banner is out, as soon as you clear chapter 1, you can be enjoying the lore and story behind the unit that's currently on banner, and in your spare time catching up to killing dragons and robots and dark elves and vampires, right? Now, to ensure new players have the tools to handle these higher level episodes, we're going to have access to a system called progression heroes, right? Because you might be thinking, how's a new player fresh out of episode 1 going to be able to kill vampires and dragons and handle what episode 5 is dishing out? Progression heroes, my friend. Think of them like the way they're giving us free loner heroes to do RTA. They're going to be giving you free loner heroes to do the episodes. They're geared and ready to go, and they're probably germane to what's going on in the story. This will help you do specific content, help you clear the episodes so you don't feel gated by your level of gameplay, and you're able to enjoy the narrative lore and immersion of the story and get excited about the units that are currently on banner. Now, some of these progression heroes may even be released before their banners are up, and be aware that they might have to tweak their kits a little bit, right? They might change their kits a little to center around the story, and then change them for when their actual final form comes out. So don't expect the progression heroes to be a mirror image of what you're going to pull on banner. This system is already in place, guys. You remember how you got to use Renok in episode 6? It'll be like that. Now, in addition to this, to make it a little bit easier for newer players to accomplish goals, the tag out system is going to be improved. It'll still let you tag out heroes like when you die, but they're changing it so that after you tag a hero out, you can tag them back in. This should allow players to build better strategies to assist with the harder contents and the harder fight. Like, for example, right? Let's say you're getting your butt handed to you and you're almost dead. You can tag in the Soul Weaver friend that you brought along the way, heal up your whole team, and then tag the Soul Weaver back out again and bring your fighter team back in and progress further until you start to need healing again. You tag your Soul Weaver back in, heal up. See what I'm doing here? It's going to let you come up with ways to accomplish goals easier, making harder fights a little bit easier if you think about the units you take along in the fight. Now on to Hall of Trials. Everybody's favorite, right? Everybody loves Hall of Trials, right? I mean, I kind of like it, guys. It's fun for the puzzle solvers out there, but the majority of the community, yeah, look, okay, Smilegate has acknowledged that the system has become cumbersome and overcomplicated, and most players don't like it. So they're introducing, first of all, to make it less complex, resonance heroes that will give you a guide as to which heroes to build, and they're also simplifying the instructions to make it a little bit more intuitive. They're also adjusting the difficulty to allow you to full auto to higher scores to be able to get your resources while still preserving enough challenge to make manual the way to go to preserve really high scores for top places. Auto Tower is also getting a facelift. They acknowledge there hasn't been a damn thing done to Auto Tower for feels like years. So they're removing some low to no usage devices from Auto Tower. They're going to add in new devices, hopefully spice Automaton Tower up even more for us. We're also getting ready to see the return of the Advent event. Looks like Kiss of Frost is coming first. Advent is a fantastic way to get modification gems and a unique and strategic fighting system, so that'll be yet another thing coming our way. Speaking of modification gems, one of the things we've been most loud about is the god-awful RNG centered around modification gems. We've all been there, right? It used the damn gem 25 times and it didn't even go up from 5 to 6. Even Mr. Navi admitted, this system just makes me angry. And I'm right there with him, right? What we wanted was for them to make it so that each roll was at least one higher than the previous roll, right? Well, they didn't quite give us that perfect solution, but they rolled out their own one in the form of epic modification gems. Epic mod gems guarantee a max roll, and they can be used on any set. They're not set locked. They will still be stat locked, however. Speed one and attack one will be different, but they can be used on any set. I'm cautiously optimistic about them. On paper, they look great. It all comes down to, can we craft them? How common are they? Are they heavily paywall gated? So hopefully Smilegate will do the right thing, and these will solve the problem of the ennui we all feel from using mod gems. Okay, now this next one. This next one actually has me a little bit upset. Let me explain to you why it grinds my gears. Trial of the Constellations Season 1 is ending. like 2.5 months earlier than expected, with minimal notice for people. So if you haven't done your perdition level yet for the final bonuses, you gotta get them done now, because it's all going to reset on the 18th and the new Constellation season will start. Make sure you also spend all your currency. There's no guarantee that currency is going to move from one season to the next. With the season change, they're going to keep all the same bosses, but they're going to retool the Blessing of the Stars. And the goal of retooling the Blessing of the Stars is to make this thing be something you can do on full auto. Because right now, light and dark require soul burns and specific targeting, so you can't do it on full auto. And their goal is through blessings to make full auto achievable with Blessing of the Stars. They're also going to retool the shop, have a revised shop. I don't know if this means the gear in there's going to get better. It should, because the gear in the shop is not very good by comparison to things like ancient inheritance gear. Knock on wood, they'll put some of these epic modification gems in there as well. Otherworldly Breach is changing and new sets are coming out. Oof. Always makes me nervous when this game rolls out new sets. So Riposte and Reversal set, they're being moved over to Rift. I will get into that in just a minute. 3 new sets are being added. Now, much like Riposte and Reversal sets, these sets appear to be very, very niche. Not sets you're going to need to farm a whole ton of, but a few units who use them could be very broken with them. First, there's the Warfare set. This set resets your skill at the start of the battle, and it increases your HP. We don't know by how much. The reset your skill is really what limits this set. There's only a handful of characters that start with their skills on cooldown. Laya, Dark Corvus, Tamarin. You could go straight into Idol's form with the set on Tamarin, making it a busted good PvE set for Tam. The new girl Hecate, gonna be great on her, but it's not gonna be a set for everyone. You're giving up a lot of stuff for that, but it could be broken on those few units that start with their skills on cooldown. Also, Acceleration set. This one is a little bit hard to put my finger on. It increases speed every time someone takes a turn. Not every time the unit takes a turn. Not every time an ally takes a turn. It just says every time someone takes a turn. Okay, how much speed does it increase? Does it cap? If it only increases you by 1% speed every time someone takes a turn and it caps at 20, then it's garbage. May as well just use a speed set. If it increases your speed by 5% every turn and it caps at 50, it could be broken as hell. It looks like to me acceleration will be best used on slower bruiser units. People who want to play really slow tanky styles, right? 3 tanks in a Soul Weaver style, but they don't want it to be a Frenzy 10 match. This will allow them to take their slow ass units and buy Frenzy 4 or 5. Suddenly they're fast units through acceleration, depending on what the cap is on it. And the final set is going to be the Pursuit set. Pursuit set increases additional damage. Additional damage is the pop damage that comes from like when Renak uses her skill and the explosion damage happens, or Urban Shadow Shu does her skill, or artifacts like Uberous Tooth or 3F activate that extra pop damage that you see at the end. This increases that. The question is by how much, and does it stack? Again, questions to be asked. I'm going to call my shot right now, guys. Acceleration Pursuit set, Last Rider Crow. You get that acceleration set on there. His S3 scales with speed as well as HP. You put him on 3F. You superhumanize his ass and give him Pursuit set to increase the pop damage as well. So yeah, it'll be fun to cook up some things with them. But again, these aren't going to be good for everybody. They're going to be good for specific units. These sets are not going to be obtainable until January the 8th. So you got some time to figure it out. Speaking of building units, Epic 7 acknowledges that their system's complex. This is like MMO level complex game. So they're trying to help new players feel less reliant on others to help train them up by offering more in-game tools. First is an equipment management tool, which is going to help you find plus 15 gear on your inventory that's safe to discard. So if you're sitting on like 900 pieces of gear and are stun locked as what to sell, this in theory should help. Now I've got a couple of issues with this system, a couple of problems. Based on the amount of gear shown in this screen, 768 pieces of gear, and it only is showing 2 results. I assume this is only showing gear that is not locked. And when most people plus 15 something, they lock it. So unless they add a button that says show locked gear, this system's pretty useless, and I've sent feedback to that effect. Second is that this is based on data collected from what the average player has been selling and transmitting. This greatly concerns me because by far the majority of the gear that is sold and transmitted in this game is done by whales, who have a very different metric for what to keep and what to sell than your average and newer players. Even the developers recommend you take a look at the piece before trusting their system, which throws us back to the, does this really help new players if they still have to decide for themselves what they throw away? I mean, I guess we'll see. I can't judge it till I see it. Make sure you send in feedback, let them know so they can tweak this system. They really, really want our feedback on the system to make it usable. The next improvement they're adding is the other side of the coin, is the equipment recommendation. So of the gear that you keep, where should you put this plus 15 gear that you've got? Again, it's based on patterns of what the average players are using on their units and where pieces go. And this is a really nice DIY tool to help solve the age-old question of who the F uses this? So I kind of like this. They are also improving the in-game fribbles system, the in-game gear optimizer system. It's getting a bit of an overhaul. We're going from a 4-point slider to a 6-point slider. This will make gearing out units for specific needs a lot easier. I know it still doesn't have the ability to enter in, I need 200 ER, I need 100% crit chance. We will never get that. Any of you guys who've downloaded and run fribbles know how long it takes permutations to run and how much processing power it takes. That level of intricacy in an in-game optimizer would turn your phone into a glowing ember of heat, kill your battery, and probably crash. So don't expect that to ever be added, but this is a huge step up. This is still a really good system for doing a general in-game use like PvE content, but for the people who are true competitive, who are min-maxing their accounts, they're still going to use programs like Fribble or their own noggin to custom tailor their units. Now, speaking of units, let's talk about who is coming to the game. Hecate is the first 5th world hero coming to Epic 7. She is an Earth Elemental hero based on the Sigurd Scythe artifact. I'm a little bit disappointed that her look is so different from her artifact look, which is badass. I still think she looks beautiful, stunning even, and I'm looking forward to her being on my team. I'll review her more completely in a separate video. Second hero is MLDN, Shepherd of the Dark. I want you guys to tell me in the comment section right now, is that Wulf going to be a guardian, or is that Wulf going to be an arbiter? I'm curious to see what you guys think. I'm also curious to see where the story of the 5th world takes us with DN. As for her banner, it should happen after the rerun rotation where we're going to get Surin. So I expect Deanne's banner should go live on January 1st, New Year's Day. Though nothing's official yet, based on the patterns, that's what I expect. Now for a third hero, we're getting the protagonist of episode 5, Aki. Aki is an heir, and he is best known from the artifact Strack Gauntlet. Aki appears to be a cross between Zuko and Fire Kawaric in appearance, and his edgy animation is awesome. Smilegate, do not make him suck. Do you hear me, Smilegate? Do not make him suck. Oh, finally a 4th hero was revealed, and that is Light Asaria, who took up the Eldris Ritual Sword at the cost of her emotions and her body. I know she doesn't look like the elf in the artifact, and that's on purpose. She's not the elf in the artifact. That is a different wielder of the Eldris Ritual Sword. She is likely going to be the ML5 after DN, though it's not guaranteed. I would expect her to release on February 19th, which is also a version update maintenance. Now, because she's so far away, her kit won't be ready for this rotation as a progression hero to help you out in the adventure. So instead, we can expect the Eldris Ritual Sword as an environmental skill in the Aki story. So we'll get to see a little bit of the effect that Asaria will bring without her actually being in the game yet. Next thing is that Covenant summons are getting an overhaul where you can wishlist heroes. Thank God I will never pull an ice shoe from Covenants again. You'll be able to wishlist 7 heroes and 7 artifacts. This means when you pull Covenants, if there is a yellow spark on the screen, it will only be one of those wishlisted heroes or artifacts. Now, this system does only apply to yellow sparks, not purple, so it does not apply to MLs. They will still be random. In addition, they're giving us a new currency called Chronicle Bookmarks. Not not really sure what Chronicle bookmarks are. I mean, you will get these as part of a free Epic Pass reward, probably part of the holiday and New Year stuff that kind of got accidentally leaked in there. And you can upgrade that to a premium pass to get even more summons and more rewards. And last but not least, the ML5 Selector Headhunt is back with a new look. It's basically a cleaner version of the old system with a guarantee at the end so no one misses the hero of their choice that they are hunting due to wretched luck. Look, I could spend an hour talking about headhunts and I've already yapped your ear off for half of that, so I will make a separate video explaining how the headhunt system works to get you ready and prepped for it, to make sure you don't screw up the initial launch. There are some tips and tricks you'll want to know, and also a tier list on who I think should be your picks based on your level of gameplay. So make sure you stay tuned, like, subscribe, and follow to catch that video. Last thing that they left us with is a coupon code. So here's your coupon code, guys. Make sure you enter it into the coupon site. There'll be a link to the coupon site in the description of this video. You can always Google Epic7 coupon code. It'll be the very first link that jumps up. And if you're having trouble getting that coupon site to work, every once in a while people have trouble with their Stove account not being properly linked and that coupon site doesn't work. If that happens to you, fire up your PC client. Once you get the Stove client up and running, click your name up there at the top. And about halfway down the list, you'll see a button there. It says coupon code. Click on that. That'll take you to a dedicated page that's intrinsically linked to your account. You can enter the coupon code there, select add. That will add it to the list. You still have to click on it there, say collect it, and send it to the account you want to send it to, and Bob's your uncle, it's in the game, and you're done and done. Just like I'm done, guys. That is a complete review of all of the updates heading our way. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, 7.